Pull yourself up a chair and join us at the Energy Roundtable.
Welcome to the Energy Roundtable. This week, Lisa and I debate beer, we debate private islands, we talk about oil sands, and we talk about BP and solar. And at the end, we talk about cryptocurrency and the merits therein. Lisa, welcome.
Thank you, Matt. I'm excited for the beer discussion.
Well, let's start there then. My first headline this week is AnheuserBusch achieves 100% RE, which is renewable energy, 4 years early. So if you read the headline, you're like, wow, they're ahead of schedule with their renewable energy push. I guess they had a target 2025 to have all of their, I guess all their product, beer and seltzer, being brewed with 100% renewable energy. So they, I guess they purchased energy most recently from a 200 plus megawatt solar farm in Texas with current energy, and there's some wind projects mentioned as well. And they're hoping that these projects offset 950,000 metric tons of CO2 annually. So at the face of it, hey, ahead of schedule, renewable energy 100%. The article is silent on the fact, is this just electricity? Or is it, because there's no mention of any gas, thermal, and I'm not an at-home brew guy, but I've been in a couple of breweries, and I know that they burn gas to make some kind of thermal energy, typically steam. And so I think there is some not ignorance, I don't want to say it that way, but the story doesn't tell the whole story, which is so bit of a thumbs down for me. What do you think?
Yeah, well, actually, when you were talking about it, I was thinking, oh, is there some biogas? That'd be cool, right? To see some more of that, because we know that there's biogas in some brewery plants. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's maybe a little one side. I haven't read the article directly, but just based on what you said, it kind of goes back to the whole push on electrification, and there's very little talk these days about the gas piece, which makes me sad. But otherwise, I mean, I think it's a good news story in the sense that they're obviously trying to get innovative and buying energy from other places, which is great to try and get there, just like some of these other companies. But yeah, I'm sad that the biogas piece didn't come up.
Any story about beer is a good story, though, right?
Very true. So my story is it's titled "Solar Deals Bolster BP's Push Toward Green Energy." It's also based on a 2025 target. So basically, BP PLC, they've made a big stride in reaching their low carbon generation target with a number of solar power deals that they've recently unveiled. One of them is they agreed to buy 9 gigawatts of solar projects in the U.S. from, I think it's 7 Times Energy, or maybe it's 7X Energy. I'll be honest, I don't know the company. They've also entered into the Greek market with a 640 megawatt solar development it had won through an auction. And yeah, that's, I think, pretty good in the sense that they have a goal by 2025 to approve more than 20 gigawatts of renewable energy projects that will consist of solar, wind, and bioenergy. They specifically have actually identified percentages here too: 83% solar, 15% wind, and 2% bioenergy. So I like the story just because it's putting action and money where their mouth is. An important piece, I think. It's not just, we were talking about this last week in Energy Roundtable. It's not just somebody coming up with a lofty goal of doing such and such. It's actually putting something into motion, which I think is great.
And it sounds like it's a multidimensional, multifaceted strategy, right? Like it's not just, with all due respect, there's a lot of great development, amazing stuff happening in wind and solar. But I think this transition to a new world will be, it requires a basket of solutions and technologies, and it sounds like that's what they're pursuing, right? And so,
yep, that's correct.
And it sounds like it's more than just doing penance for years of pulling oil out of the ground. It sounds like they're clearly throwing a lot of money at it to get to a solution that is real, and they're serious about this transition, right? It's good business and it's good marketing, but it's also it sounds like they're sincere about it. So
yep.
Very, very cool. Very exciting. So, we're hearing more and more of those stories. That's a really positive thing. My next article is on smartenergydecisions.com. It's an article from 3 days ago, June the 7th. The title is Microgrids, : the benefits of your own private island. This is not about Richard Branson and an island in the Caribbean. This is about your own electrical island and the benefits of, and it's quite a lengthy article. I would highly encourage everyone to go read it. We can maybe link in the show notes to connect to this. But it's really, it talks about a whole bunch of benefits, really practical benefits, and it really provides an education of, well, what is a microgrid? It talks about a traditional solution with a backup generator. It talks about a generator and storage, right? So a battery storage and how that works. And it has some really elegant graphs that kind of show the puts and takes. And then it starts to talk about solar, storage, generator, kind of that hybrid, and really kind of an elegant way of laying out the benefits of a microgrid. And obviously demand charges is one, energy storage, so time of use, kind of the whole arbitrage piece with that. And then obviously the last one is islanding, and as you talk about a climate world where weather events are getting more and more extreme, the ability to open the breaker and isolate and continue to run and really have everything under your own control is becoming more and more of a quantifiable economic benefit. So really a great article. Highly encourage everybody to go and read it and spend 15 minutes to catch yourself up to speed on the real benefits of microgrids.
Mm-hmm. Well, I give that one a thumbs up, Matt, and how could I not? Because Timmins District Hospital is a microgrid, and I love that project. And it's not solar and CHP. It's two different types of engines that are operating that can operate in an islanded state, but they're used for different purposes. And obviously, it provides the resiliency for a hospital like in the Timmins area. So I love the idea.
And it has storage. It doesn't have electrical storage. It has thermal storage in the form of ice and cold storage. So yeah, really exciting project. Great point. Timmins and District Hospital.
That's right. Okay. Oh, and by the way, both of my articles are from the Star. I have them in the old-fashioned printed versions.
Wow.
I think the links, though, that I gave to Mark, just for our listeners and for people who want to read up on these, might actually be from Bloomberg and other sources, because I can never find the exact articles for whatever reason when I just use the paper version. But anyways, this one is called Large Oil Sand Firms Commits to Net Zero by 2050. And firms meaning plural. And so basically a group of the largest producers in Canada's oil sands, they've announced a joint strategy actually on Wednesday of this last week to reach net zero greenhouse gas emissions by 2050. So there's the big bold statement we keep hearing about net zero by 2050. But the companies that are part of this, they include Canadian Natural Resources, Cenovus Energy, Imperial Oil, Meg Energy Corp, and Suncor. And this is kind of where now the action comes in. And basically a big part of the strategy is supposedly going to be including building a carbon sequestration facility in Cold Lake, Alberta. And the group says the facility will be available for other industries to use as well. Exactly what that means, I'm not quite sure. And then the companies also plan to pilot emerging carbon reduction technologies around oil sands operations, such as direct air capture. So what I really like about this is two things. The fact that, you're putting a strategy in motion because you're already starting to talk about the technology in terms of how you're going to get there. And the second thing that I think is really cool is to see this kind of partnership, this joint strategy that is forming with people who operate in the oil sands and who are kind of competitors against one another. And here they are coming together to achieve something bigger than themselves, really. So I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, you raise a good point that once you start to talk about technology selections, you've moved from a goal to, a strategy, or from, the vision of a future state to here's the strategy and here's how we're going to get to it. I am just more and more amazed at how quickly things are happening, the speed at which we're hearing about these stories. It's amazing. It's borderline scary, how things are ramping up and moving ahead. So yeah, let's just hope we can hold on tight, and hang on for the ride, right?
Well, what did I say? It was like 1 or 2 weeks ago. I said I was talking with a client and we were comparing it to like the horse carriage or buggy and going to cars in a span of 10 years. And I think this transition is happening faster than that. I think so. It's I don't know what it is. I won't even try to pretend I have a crystal ball in front of me, but I think it's going to be here turning around pretty quickly.
So you're saying the horse has left the barn?
Yes, left a long time ago.
Let's get off of my dad jokes and bring in Mr. Mark Charbonneau. Mark, welcome to the Energy Roundtable.
Hi, Matt. Hi, Lisa.
Hello.
How are you guys?
Good.
How are you doing today?
Good.
We're ready for the face-off, Mark.
Okay, so this one's a topic that I don't know a lot about. I've sort of been hovering around the outside of this and sort of watching it from afar. And I've got some friends that are way into it, and I haven't really sat down to talk to them about it. But anyways, it's cryptocurrency, pros and cons of, I guess, dabbling and throwing your money at it. I'll flip the coin here, and then we'll get the pros and cons sorted out here. And I'll let Matt call this one.
Oh, okay. Heads.
It is heads. Would you like to tackle the pros or the cons of crypto?
Well, I always give Lisa all the easy ones. I'll take the pros of cryptocurrency.
The pros of cryptocurrency. Okay. Well, why don't we have Lisa begin with the cons then?
Okay. Sure, I can most certainly do that. Well, I think, and Matt knows a lot more about this subject than I do, by the way. So you're probably going to notice that in his responses versus mine. But nonetheless, we'll try it. I'll give this a shot. So I think one of the biggest things is the high volatility and the potential for large losses. I mean, this is not really, in some ways, I'll call it for the faint of heart. There has been a significant increase in terms of the value of Bitcoin, certainly since 2016. I'm doing my research, Matt, so I'll point out some numbers. From 2016, from what I can see on this graph, the price of one Bitcoin in US dollars was $100, and in 2021 it's just shy of about 10,000. So that's grown significantly, but in that period there have been some significant drops as well. So I think that's really the big piece that you have to be wary of as an investor and be ready to take on. I think the next biggest piece, at least for people like myself that maybe don't know enough about it, but that there's limited acceptance. I know I can buy a Tesla today, but I don't know where else I can use my Bitcoin. So that is a little bit problematic for me as an investor. I want to invest my, for example, in stocks or mutual funds or GICs or wherever my money might be going. I want to be able to grow, and then I want to be able to use it, whether it's buying a house or a car or doing something with it, right? The other big thing I think that's key is it is unregulated and it's unbacked. So again, that carries a little bit of risk. And here's just a bit of a statistic. A 2019 academic study found that 25% of Bitcoin users are involved in illegal activity. Ouch, not great. And that 46% of Bitcoin transactions are associated with illegal activity. I don't know if any of our listeners have watched the show GenCoin on Netflix. If you haven't, tune into it. It's great. I've watched it, but it does remind me of the Netflix series and some of the illegal activity that goes on there. So I think, if you're going to take it on, I think you really have to be ready mentally. You have to be mentally prepared for it. It's not for the faint of heart. It's way too risky, in my opinion, for the average investor. In fact, investor Mark Cuban suggests that Bitcoin is a little bit similar to gambling. You should only invest as much money as you think you can lose. So with that, I will pass the floor over to Matt, who knows a lot more about it than I do.
Well, and let the record show that even if I don't know something more about something, I can come to it with the confidence and the sometimes false confidence that makes it appear that I do. So with that caveat, the fact that it's largely used in illegal circles, not sure if that's really holds water, because gambling, drinking, and cannabis all started out in illegal world. Now they're quite legal and quite lucrative. So. I think what's exciting, and you cannot currently buy a Tesla anymore with cryptocurrency.
You cannot?
You cannot, no. Oh. And that actually erodes one of the arguments against it is that it is extremely, and we've talked about this on the roundtable before, is that it's extremely energy intensive. And so, Tesla basically said, listen, we're trying to save the world. And then how can we be accepting energy intensive cryptocurrency? But I mean,
all the reason not to go for it.
Right. Yes. But I mean, there was a time when the stock market was new, and it still has some volatility in it, but it has gained prominence. There was a time where we only lived on the gold standard, and we moved to currency, to money. What's really exciting about cryptocurrency, and I just see it as the next progression of the way we're going to transact business, is this distributed framework, right? And so it sits on the blockchain. And the blockchain is this kind of sequence of mathematical calculations and configurations, and it's unregulated, yes, but it's distributed, right? And so you have to get 10 different people to say yes, in simple terms, before money can flow. And so the level of kind of safety and traceability, like there was a story the other day where they were able to trace all these ransomware attacks that are happening in the U.S. were funded through cryptocurrency, but the FBI was able to trace all that and really kind of get the money back and get to some of the issues. So yes, there's some volatility, but I mean, there's many winners in the world of volatility, right? So I think with enough education, I think you can ride the wave, and there are many people who are no longer working because they made the right bets on cryptocurrency. But I think there are many currencies that are really, we're now into Rev 2, 3, 4, generation 2, 3, 4, and these currencies are you're seeing the banks start to adopt them. We have an exchange traded fund here in Canada. There's lots of legitimacy that's coming to it, and it is a fundamental change in how we transact. So yes, there are some bugs that have to get worked out, but this whole concept of ledgers and wallets and that stuff, it is coming. And what's even more exciting to me is the underlying blockchain technology and its applicability to everything that we do. Very, very exciting. So and cryptocurrency is just a proxy for the blockchain as far as I'm concerned. So I'm very excited about it. Mind you, I will say that in I want to say early April, I got into it just with like $50, and I went up to about $100, and today I'm like at 46.86. So it moves around so much. So anyway.
Now, what currency is that? Is like Dogecoin, or which one?
No, I mean, some of them, even when I got in, were kind of I couldn't throw enough money at them. But I think this is that's a good question. I think it's a couple. It's a blend of the portfolio value.
Okay, fair enough. And Lisa, I think the show you were talking about is Startup, which is on Netflix.
Oh yeah,
right?
You're right. That's what it is. But they have GenCoin as the business.
Yeah, GenCoin is
right.
the business.
Thank you for the correction, Mark. Thank you.
That might have been what prompted this discussion on cryptocurrency. Maybe, I don't know, because I was thinking about it for a while. But I have to go with Lisa. I'm still not convinced. Matt, you didn't convince me yet. I do agree that it is something that a lot of people are dabbling in, and it could be the future of currency, or at least alongside with our current currency. But I'm still not convinced, so I got to give it to Lisa on this one. If your investment goes up to 100, Matt, then
okay, I'll call you back.
Yeah, and then I'll rebut my
okay,
my choice.
Well, if nothing else, hopefully this medium, as it is for me, is a great opportunity for us all to learn about just different things, and hopefully our listeners are learning a little bit more about cryptocurrency today. So.
Right on. Yeah. Plus, I was looking for a new show recommendation on Netflix, so we're good to go.
Awesome. That's a good one, actually. I really enjoy Startup. It's a little far-fetched in certain areas, but it is entertaining. It's very entertaining.
It is. It gets you hooked. A couple of episodes in, eh? Yeah.
Cool. Very good. Well, thank you both. Mark, thank you for a great face-off. Lisa, thank you for great articles. To our listeners and viewers, as always, leave some comments, leave some feedback. We'd love to hear how we can make this better. And until we're together again, stay safe and have fun.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.